My mother's next older sister was named Virginia, but she got labeled very early with the nickname Virgie, and she hated that nickname. And she tried to get my brother and me to call her Ginger, something we couldn't do, primarily because another one of our aunts on my father's side had a horse named Ginger. And somehow, as I told my aunt, Ginger was supposed to be a horse's name, so we stuck with Virgie. She was one of the most important people in my life, and I learned all my values from her. She and her husband Bill had no children, and so I was in essence their surrogate daughter. I spent as much time at their house as I did at mine. They lived just around the corner, so I'd eat lunch there, I'd be there for dinner, I'd go to church with them. And every Saturday night, I remember as a child, we'd go to the drive-in. It was always so much fun. My aunt would pack a picnic lunch, and my Uncle Bill would drive his 1948 black Chevrolet to the theater, and he had built for me a stool. It was the day before car seats for children that he put between him and Virgie, and it raised me up so that I'd be just eye level with them. So we were like three peers going to see the movie, and we always had such a great time. And Virgie taught me everything I needed to know about values in life. Her strongest value was that you should never, ever hurt anybody's feelings. And she often told stories to illustrate her values. And I remember one night that she and Bill were going to dinner to eat at a house of a woman who they went to church with. Church was very big in their lives. And let's call her Mrs. Brown. So they went to have dinner with Mrs. Brown. The next day, Virgie was talking to me, and she was so distraught because she said that Mrs. Brown was a wonderful person, kept a very, very clean house, very immaculate. Everything was perfect. And, of course, that meant a lot to my aunt because she had a little bit of germ phobia. She worried about germs and cleanliness and everything. Be careful of what you touch, eating, food, that whole thing. So she said during the meal, they had a meal, and she was opening her biscuit to butter it. And she said as she broke open the biscuit, she saw that there was a hair baked inside. She said she knew Mrs. Brown would be mortified if she knew that she had found a hair in her biscuit. I mean, what cook wouldn't? I worry about that myself sometime. And she said that she wondered how could she hide this from Mrs. Brown so that Mrs. Brown wouldn't be hurt or humiliated or feel bad. So she said she spent the entire meal trying to maneuver that biscuit off of her plate, into her lap, and into her pocket, and get home with it and dispose of it so that Mrs. Brown would never know that she had found a hair in her biscuit. That was the kind of care she took for other people's feelings. I remember one weekend, I think it was an Easter weekend perhaps, that Uncle Bill went deep sea fishing. And I went to spend the night with my Aunt Virgie Saturday night, as I often did if he went out of town. It was always a fun time because we'd stay up late and watch TV. We'd drink Pepsi. She'd pop popcorn. We'd eat candy. We would just have a good time. So we got up the next morning to get ready to go to church, and we were in her kitchen. Virgie's kitchen had a pot-bellied wood stove in it. And we would sit in there, she'd use it to take the chill off or do things. It wasn't for cooking, it was for warmth. And so we were sitting in there, and she said, "Dottie Jean, sit down. There's something important I got to talk to you about." And I was about 11 years old, maybe 10 or 11, and I thought, oh, this is it. Wow, this is where I'm going to learn the facts of life. She's going to tell me the truth about some of those things the girls had been whispering about at school. So I was all ears and very excited, and Virgie said, "Dottie Jean, you know what a great bosom your mother has. And I know that you want to have just as nice a bosom as she has. And if you want that, the most important thing is that you always, always wear a good bra. And it's extremely important that when you go out and buy a bra, that you buy the right bra. This is not an area you want to skimp on. You don't want to scrimp and be stingy. Always invest in a good bra." She said that way you'll have a good bosom like your mother and a good figure, and that's really important. And I just want you to know, Dottie Jean, that if you're ever in a position in life where you can't afford to buy a good bra, then I want you to know that you can always come to me and I'll give you the money to buy it. And that was it. And I was an introverted, shy child, and I didn't question her. I just took it in and nodded and thought this was another great lesson in life, something important along the lines of how to maneuver a biscuit with a hair in it off the table into your lap and into your pocket. And most of my life I have spent searching for a really good bra, because the one thing Virgie didn't tell me, she didn't tell me what's the criteria for a good bra. How do you know when you're buying a good bra? Does it depend on whether it's underwire or not? Does it depend on the size of the straps? Is it front closure, back closure? What makes a good bra? She didn't tell me that. As a result, I have a dresser drawer over here that probably has 50 bras in it. I have front closures, back closures, wired bras, wireless bras. A friend of mine, knowing of my search for the perfect bra years ago, even gave me a bra without nipples. The only thing I can say is I'm pretty sure that would not meet Virgie's criteria for a good bra. And the only other thing I know about what might be her criteria is, since she never really told me, but I do know that whatever the criteria is, it must be a damned expensive bra if she thought I'd have to borrow money from her to buy it.